I had this idea to kind of document my mixing process. Thinking maybe just to do verbal, audio words of what I'm doing. Yeah, I can't connect to the camera right now. More later. Okay, so add plugin 1 to the Aston outside kick mic. Looks like there's a peak a little over after 100. I am high passing and low passing. There's a boost right there where that fundamental is. Just for the hell of it. I'm not sure what I'm trying to get out of this. It's got a lot of ring to it, hear that? Probably not. I like it. What does it sound like with the sub? That's huge. No compression yet. I definitely don't want to boost on the sub. Wow, look at that. That bloom is going so low. It's amazing. Alright, I'm going to switch to audio only. Alright. So, I've got a flat EQ. I'm not high passing the sub, and I took a bunch out in the highs on the sub for some reason because there's not much energy there. Alright, now I want to see how it's going to react with the actual compressors. So I got to build a drum bus. I wish I had a screen recorder. Audio is interesting at this point. Alright, drum bus. A bus is where you just take whatever mic's signals you've set up and you send them to a stereo channel before you send them to the master channel. And you can group process things in that way. You can turn the whole drum kit up and down pretty easily. So this one, there's the sub, and then it's parallels, it's just making it louder at this point. And you gotta go back and unselect master for everything. Sure, there's easier workflows in other DAWs, but this is the one that I use. It is Reaper with a skin on it, so it looks kind of like a Neve console, and I know where the fucking buttons are. And that's it. Alright, so now we're going to bus. Now I'm going to take it out of the master set. And I'm just doing that currently with just the two kick mics. Alright, so now I got a thing. Don't usually high pass, low pass the whole drum bus. I like to start with the Waves V comp because it's the compression emulator that I have used the most. It's pretty easy, real basic 2-knob controls, and I can set the attack to slow and the release to click, which is 100 milliseconds. It says ratio is at 4 here. I'm going to back it back down to 2. I just like to get a little bit of. And we're going to turn the analog emulation on, even though I'm not quite sure what that does. Now I think we're safe to take this master limiter off of the mix bus. I was just really using it to make things louder. actually, yeah, I can almost hear that. Let's see, I'll put my go-to mix bus compressor on the mix bus stereo master track, which is what it is sending. That's what it is. It's all this is a stereo file. Eventually is what we're going to go to, even though I'm running multi-track at this point. I had 8 mics on the drums, so that's pretty cool. My little dead room here at Chords&Wires. I've deadened it quite a lot. I've always had trouble with the brashness of cymbals. Still just mixing this kick drum. I can kind of hear it, but I'm still going to put the mix bus compressor on, which my go-to is the SSL mix bus SSL comp stereo by Waves. What it says. It's supposed to emulate the compressor stage of an SSL console, like the actual master bus compressor on an SSL console. I'm pulling the threshold down a bit. I want a little bit slower attack. I like this. I like to start with slow attacks. Low ratio. It only goes down to 10. Let's do a quick release. Alright, now I can kind of hear it. Turn my headphones up. So maybe what I'm going to do is... That's a lot of thwack, thud. I don't know if that distortion is... I think it's really just genuine, like... Alright, so if I do high pass it... like 35. There's some snare in that mic, which is crazy. Alright, let's see what the boundary mic sounds like. What has it got? Oh, a lot of snare on that guy. Let's take it out of the master. So this is just some, I improvised some drum tracking the other day in honor of the passing of Mr. Steve Albini, who I feel like I learned a lot from his YouTube videos and things like that. Very no-nonsense, tells you how it works. I don't know. I interned at a major recording studio for 5 years. Making and recording my own music for a long time. Worked with other engineers and things, but mainly have learned this process through doing it here at 16 Goodwill, Asheville, NC, and just doing the thing. Midweek during the day, generally when my family's off somewhere in the daytime, and I just do the thing. Alright, where were we? I mean, that sounds like a drum mix right there. And that is 3 microphones. So, let's put that boundary in solo. That's cool. I don't want to boost at 100 on that. I'm going to try to get... Ride sounds amazing from down there. I'll leave some of that in there. So it's like gain staging. So the bus can only take so much. So you have to make sure everything is not too hot. I learned a long time ago that drums maybe go quicker than the meters, but it's pretty good in computers nowadays. Okay, there's some dirtiness on the bottom of the snare. I like that. Yeah, and at this point I'm just going to go ahead and put comps. So far I've got 3 kick drum tracks, well, bottom, snare, kick, back, mic, 2 kick drum tracks. The Aston's a little weird. I kind of wish I'd used a dynamic, but that's okay. So here we're going to put in my go-to drum channel compressor, which is the Pi emulation. I believe it's like from Olympic. It's from a Eddie Kramer collection. I know about these things from reading books about studios in the UK, and there it is, in the 1960s and 70s. That's 60s. It's where a lot of my favorite music comes from. So on the sub I have the Pi. I have a re-EQ, which is high pass and low passing, to kind of rein in whatever information I'm going to be given. And I'm going to use a preset. Let's see, what do they do? Where's as a starting point generally? Kick drum comp. That ratio is too high for me. I don't know if it's doing anything. I'm going to turn the hum off. Yeah, it's doing something. That cleaned it up nicely, actually. Yeah, I like that. And I'm going to take that same comp and copy it over to the out kick mic. I have a lot of snare in that. I wonder if Gatey Waity will take it out. There is a gate that I use. It's by a company called Boz Digital Labs. I don't know, they make plugins and I like them. I've bought a few of their plugins standalone. Alright, let's see what they have as far as a preset for a kick drum. Kick, deep lead. Yeah, that just did it. What do we got? Let's see how good it is. I'll pull the threshold down a little bit so I can really gate that up. I'm going to turn the look ahead up a little bit. Not sure what that's doing. I'm going to move the gate behind the compressor. Once again, this whole thing was the idea being to honor Albini. I don't know how. I just thought I would get kind of dry, roomy drums. I wanted to get. I also haven't played my drums in about 6 months. I haven't been set up here in my studio because my drummer, Mike, has had his drums set up here, which is great. It's a great kit, probably better than mine, but I set mine up weird and I have it tuned all weird the way I like it. So I finally set mine up. That's kick starting to work. Yeah, alright, and then when we put that boundary, that mic sounds amazing. Let's just compress it. Let me just keep the whole thing. I may try to take some of that ride out of it, even though it sounds great. There's a setting on here like mono room crush or something, or normal close room comp. What about that? I'm also going to take the buzz off of it. That's kind of weird. Might need some gate on that too. So I'll put a gate behind it this time. I've copied, but I'm going to change. And I'm going to use snare remove hi-hat. That's pretty tight, and so it's got the click and everything. Right now, I'm going to move on to a different section of the kit. Oh, that's crazy. Alright. Oh, that's right. So for this session, I used SM58s as my front and back, which is kind of a variation of a Glenn Johns mic technique. That's how I started out using Glenn Johns, because I had a very limited number of microphones, so it worked pretty well for me when I first started recording drums. So I learned about Glenn Johns, which is an overhead and one mic kind of behind the floor tom. I learned from a guy on YouTube, Ryan, I'm forgetting your name right now, but I think you're kind of over in Candler somewhere or something. Maybe I'll meet you someday. But he suggested moving the floor tom mic kind of back a bit so that the drummer's body isolates that mic from the hi-hat, and so that technique worked really well. And then I think it was when I was trying to use my Golden Age Project ribbon mics, which are kind of like a RCA 44. I never remember which is the 44. I think it's the other one. Emulation of an old school ribbon mic, which you're supposed to not hang horizontally, so I needed to do it vertically, so I'm like, well, I'll just put it in front. That's when I developed the technique of a mic kind of behind the drummer's right shoulder, back a few feet behind the drums, pointing towards the drum, and then one in the front, kind of in front of the hi-hat, maybe a little bit out. And the key with stereo drum miking, or drum miking in general, is to make sure you got everything in phase, which means that it's the same distance, or the way to achieve this is to make sure the mics are the same distance from the source. And then there's a thing called a 3-to-1 ratio, which I never have a problem with, because I usually, my mics that are about 3 or 4 feet away from my kit, from the snare. That's all the room I have to work with, so I don't have to worry about super long, and I try to make sure they all match. That is 2 SM58s. Pretty amazing. Which one is getting more? The other. Getting a lot of beater in the front one. That's kind of cool. It really is a pretty good stereo image with just a couple of 58s. And they were running through bus compression on the drum bus. Oh, they're also still running through the master, so I should take that out. Alright, I don't know what it sounds like. Once again, this is just really probably for myself to document my process. It's remarkable how good those 2 mics sound. It looks like the front 58 is a little bit bigger file. Like, it's a little hotter, so that means I have my gain staging wrong going in, but it's easy to compensate in a DAW. You just grab the top of the playlist track and turn it down to where the waveform kind of matches the other one you're working with. quite a bit. And you can kind of listen, you can look at your meters. That's still a bit hot. No. You can still, as long as the snare is still kind of in the middle. Alright. I gotta take it back up a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe the... Alright. Oh, and I did this in drummer's perspective, which means what it sounds like from sitting behind the kit. It sounds pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put. Oh, and so now there's a high pass, low pass. So far. 57 hertz, and that's the high pass, and then what does it say, 5,000, kind of like tape. Maybe I'm going to put tape simulation on and do even more of that later on. At this point I should probably be bouncing because it's just phone audio, but I don't know, maybe you can hear that. The stereo mic on my phone's pretty good. I'm talking to myself. That's amazing. Alright, compressor. Yeah, so what do we want? That's a medium room comp. The same one. It's probably good. I could try. There's not one a preset for overhead. Normal close room comp. Yeah, why not? That makes sense. It's about the tap and release, and I'm turning the ratio down. I'm just trying to get some emulation of the analog channel. And just do it over and over and over again, actually. So speaking of which, these 258s were run through my SSL2, which is just a little stereo interface that I got to actually just to run my keyboards out of and stuff. My initial interface, which was a Focusrite Scarlett, classic thing here of the entry-level amazingness of the 2010s. What I started with, like I'm sure a whole lot of people at this point, even though I bought it after I had been at the big studio, so I know what the real gear looks like. I have had my hands on some of those mics, not so much the desk during a session, but that's alright. It might happen someday. I still can't believe how good those 258s sound. The S58 is, the industry standard vocal dynamic microphone generally used for vocals, and it actually sounds pretty damn good as a room mic, a little bit of a far mic for drums. I discovered this years ago when all I had was a 58 and a compressor pedal, and if you compress the hell out of the 58 on the drum kit, it's pretty fucking accurate. It sounds good. Alright, so those are cool. A little dirty. We're gonna then go back into solo, check out the little fancier. That sounds very similar. These are matched pair of Lewitt pencil condensers. Same high pass, low pass, and compressor. I'm gonna use this same compressor. Let's see. Maybe I will adjust it, so I'm gonna remove that one. That stereo field sounds pretty good. The thing about sometimes you end up, I wonder if it would flip the phase out too much if I did just flip that. Let's see what that sounds like. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I have basically 2 sets of stereo mics on this recording. The 58s and the Lewis. And I just flipped the Lewis to be opposite. This is the first time I've ever done this, that I can recall, flipping where they are in pan. You know, pan one to one side, one to the other, and then the other to the other side, and the other. It does not seem to be out of phase. It is kind of cool. It gives a mono. Yeah, it makes it a little bit more mono. I don't know. That's kind of cool. Alright, and then I need to still go ahead and solo the drum bus and take whichever ones that still are going through the master out of the master. And that is the whole kit through. Oh, I didn't address the snare whatsoever. What do we got for the snare? That's a big, dirty fucking bottom. Boomy, ringy, crappy. I like a boom. I like a ring. Hear that? Awful ring. That's awful. I'm going to put the gatey weighty on this sucker. And we're going to try snare remove, hi-hat. That's what we got. That's pretty good. The ring on that snare, awful. But for some reason, when it comes in the whole mix, this is what I like. We're gonna get the pie on here. I like particularly the presets for the snare drum. I'm gonna try normal. That's a bunch of noise. Off. Awful snares down. So let's see what that sounds like if we add everything back in. Okay, so that's where that ring was coming from. I thought it was coming from the Aston in front of the kick. I'm gonna go over here and look where it is. It's got a big peak at, what is that, right around 200? I'm gonna take some of it out. Or maybe pull the high pass up a bit. There's some dirt. Focus in on it. Once you hear a thing in this process, it can easily become all you hear. So just let it be. Now I'm going to add the Waves Kramer master tape, which is sort of an emulation of a 1/4 inch mastering reel-to-reel machine from, I believe, also from Olympic Studios, part of the Eddie Kramer series. He worked with Jimi Hendrix, who was a big influence. There's just a lot of wow and flutter on there. I'm going to turn that down a little bit, although wow and flutter, or emulation, which is a byproduct of the mechanical action of a tape machine, tends to do a cool thing to cymbals. Now that is the cymbal in stereo. It's pretty cool. I like that drum sound. So that's basically. Wait, oh, I didn't get a comp on the. There we go. Now, so basically, this is my 6 mics, 8 mics, sorry, on drums. And I have added on each channel EQ plugin, the basic stock one from Reaper, Re-EQ, high pass, low pass, on each channel, different places, tune to taste. The Kramer Pi stereo is only stereo because that's how Reaper works, and every track is stereo for some reason, not mono. So I have to use the stereo versions of the plugins, which probably eats up CPU, but that's fine. Okay, there is some phasiness, but I'm gonna go with it. I like it. These mics switched like they were. Anyway, Kramer Pi, and then on a few channels, the kick front, Aston, the boundary mic under the snare drum, and the snare drum I have added Boz Digital Labs Gatey Weighty, which is a great, it's sort of intelligent gate plug-in. Now that's pretty dirty, and now if I take and on the drum bus I have the V comp and the Kramer tape, which is probably sounds like mostly what I'm gonna want on here. Pretty basic. There's the rest of the dirty noise. Wait, did I take that out of the master? No. Oh, there's the drums. Now the drums sound like drums to me. I'm just supposed to say. Whatever that means. Thank you and good night. again.